Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. I've been wanting to show and share with you my experiences with the Shine Mate short nap knitted cutting wool pads. They're on a blue foam interface. You can get them in 3, 4, 5, 6 inch for each type of polisher and backing plate. They're made to remove deep scratches and imperfections on stubborn, hard finishes, so they will cut very, very quickly. I'm going to demonstrate on this panel here, and we have different areas marked off with masking tape, and within them I'll have different sand marks from 3000 grit all the way down to 1000 grit. 1000 grit is getting pretty scruffy, pretty roughed up, as you'll see here. And it takes quite an aggressive type of pad to knock that imperfection down and remove it and correct it. The pads can also go after heavy oxidation and any type of sand marks. And it's made for the rotary, but I can tell you you can be successful using it on orbital dual action polishers or the rotary. But let me demonstrate starting with a rotary. And I really like to team it up with the 3D ACA 500 extra cut compound. If you really want to get the work done quickly, cut down on heat, and get in and out of there and move on. So we'll take a trip down through all of the areas of sand marks and a return trip going correction speed. The polisher will be between the 3rd and 4th speed setting, moderate pressure, and we'll see how far we get before this pad fails to do correction. Another reason I enjoy them besides their performance, the wool pads, they're normally dirty. You get lint flying everywhere, and since we like to keep the shop as clean as possible doing paint protection film, the short nap wool pad that we have here is rather clean. Every once in a while you'll find a little bit of lint flying around, or it'll tickle your nose, your nostrils. But for the most part, it'll be the compound, the heavy cutting compounds, that make more of a mess than the pads. Okay, that will do it. I know you can see already we've made a huge difference. Let me wipe off the residue. Let me walk over and grab the panel prep so we're not using any of the polishing oils to mask any of the imperfections here. And then I'll bring you guys in closer for a better look. And we'll show each area. We'll move on down. This is 3000 grit and then 2500. No problem with the first two areas. Most polishes, you can polish out 2500 and 3000 grit with a fine polish. It's these middle sections here, 2K, no problem there whatsoever. 1500 grit, now we're getting into some real scruffy areas, no problem there. And down into the 1000 grit sand marks. That takes an aggressive pad to take care of that, and it had no problem whatsoever. Now, there is haziness. There's no misconceptions whatsoever. You will need to finish down it'll be a 2-step process if you're using this pad. You'll need to finish down to a non-aggressive foam pad and a finish polish. Using the swirl finder, you're going to see that the areas are indeed hazed over, but those underlying deep imperfections are gone. By the way, that was all done with hardly any effort on my part. The polisher wasn't screaming on the highest speed setting. I wasn't flailing my arms about. A nice even keel motion all the way across the panel. A smooth ride, that's another important factor. With the rotary, some that do not have a ton of time behind the machine will find that it will skip often, and with these pads, there's hardly any skipping or chattering whatsoever. Now let me swap polishers. They also work great on a polisher with a long throw, 21 millimeters to be exact, and that's what I have here. And you can be successful using that pad on this polisher as well. All right, that's all it will take. Two passes, one pass down, one pass back. Let me remove the residue and use a panel prep as well. And I'll bring you guys in. I know you can already see that we have made some huge improvements, even in those heavier sand marks down towards the end of the panel. You may also notice it's a little bit more hazy using the long throw polisher compared to the rotary, especially as we get down into the areas with the deeper sand marks. That can be cleared up. That's no problem. It's going to take that second step anyways, but just something to take note. 1,000 grit sand marks, no problem. Okay, so if you ask me, well, no problem there. You're using a rotary and a long throw polisher. What about a smaller polisher? Well, I'm going to grab a 3-inch polisher. It, of course, has a smaller throw. There's going to be less energy there being transferred from the polisher to the surface. You would think there would be less correction being done. Let me take the same trip down, same speed, pressure, and arm speed, and we'll see what happens. And once again, even with a smaller polisher that doesn't have quite the energy of the rotary and a long throw polisher with a 21 millimeter throw, no problems whatsoever. So you get the idea. I wanted to share that with you in case you get something in that is real stubborn or you have some deep imperfections. You can use a pad like this and not have to spike temperatures, just keep going back and forth, back and forth. This will get it done quickly. Brian from Apex Detail, catch you in the next video.